Hello, all our Pittsburgh Sportsline friends and fans and new friends, old friends, and Bethel Park. Thanks to Dave Cable on BPTV for producing this Zoom show, the first Pittsburgh Sportsline Zoom show. We got me and Smokin' Jim using technology. So even though I'm older than him, I figured it out, and so did Smokin' Jim. So welcome to our first Zoom of Pittsburgh Sportsline. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. You all know that. We got Smokin' Jim Frazier with me. You all know him from Pittsburgh and all around the world. He's notorious. So we're going to talk some sports. I usually do my promos, so I'm going to try it, and we'll see what we do. If I can get it up there, Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. Help them out. They're big supporters of Pittsburgh Sportsline. You can give them a call and get a takeout order. Their food is delicious. Next up, Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. You got to check them out. Their son died before his 10th birthday. He was only 9 years old. Poor Joey. They've raised over $100,000 with events. Hopefully we can do the 1 mile 5K walk and run in September, usually the second week of September at Bethel Park High School. That's their biggest fundraiser. But go to their website while you're home under quarantine like all of us. I know you got time, folks, so check it out. Next up, Bethel Park Historical Society, the Arts and History Center, located right at 2600 South Park Road. They do a lot of great things in the community. They're a nonprofit. You can check it out. They put all new windows, new roof. They have businesses in there. They run different events. When we get out of quarantine, you can go do social distancing at their place. Hopefully my green tea place, Reginald's Coffee, will be reopening so I can get a pot of tea there. I miss going there and seeing owner Julie and Matt. I appreciate them, so check that out. Next up, can't see all this, but Dave Cable likes to make a little fun of me. So here I am, BPTV once we open up from the social distancing and quarantine of the studio. And you can call 412-831-3304 and tell them Uncle Al, the talking machine, sent you. Next up, another nonprofit. I'll try to put it in there. It's the Bethel Park Community Foundation. They've given out over $970,000 in the last 25 years. Contact them at bpcf.org and donate some money. They help a lot of great people and great groups in Bethel Park, helping to promote our community. So I'm all about that. And that's all I got for you there. All I can say is stay safe, stay healthy, and we're going to talk some Pittsburgh Steelers draft. I'm not a big fan of the draft day except for the first round. And guess what? We didn't have a first-round pick this year, as you all know why. We made a great trade, got Minka, and he helped pick the defense up to make it one of the top Ds like we're used to in the league. But they did have picks 2 through 7, so Smokin' Jim and I are going to talk to you about it. He's an NFL scout, Steelers scout, who missed out on steak this year since they weren't open for him to have steak. And you know he wasn't cooking steak because he can't cook. So at home, he had to watch the draft like the rest of us. Welcome aboard, Smokin' Jim. First, I got to ask what Chip Hayner did on Facebook. He asked me, what grade do you think Smokin' Jim gave? I said, D-. How'd I do?
Hey, Al Levine, the talking machine. Appreciate you, Dave Cable, BPTV. And I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, I'm going to correct you and Chip and the rest of the Steeler Nation right off the bat. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not use, in my opinion, for me, Roberto Clemente used to say, for me, Mika Fitzpatrick was not a 2020 draft pick. Mika Fitzpatrick played in 2019, so the Steelers had 2 first-round draft picks, in my opinion, in 2019. That's where it falls. The Pittsburgh Steelers did a horrible job in 2020. I gave them a D. People say I give them a D every year. They earned that particular grade. I think this was the worst draft they had since 2016. And if you look at the 2016 draft, there's not one single player still left on the roster.
How could that happen?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of things. They didn't do their homework as usual. Number two, I think that Coach Mike Tomlin was practicing a little bit of nepotism. Not only did he draft 2 players out of 5 from the University of Maryland, where the University of Maryland gave his son a full athletic football scholarship, probably the only D1 player that didn't make an all-star team that got a big-time Division I scholarship. Coach Tomlin showed his appreciation by not only drafting 2 players from Maryland, but he also picked up an quarterback coach from the University of Maryland. So they practiced a lot of nepotism, which pulled the draft down a little bit. I love their first-round draft choice. They got a steal with their first pick, in the second round. They got an outstanding wide receiver that could probably play H-back or tight end. He's 6'4", 238 pounds. He's from Canada. Played at
Tell him how
Dame.
fast he runs. Tell him how fast.
He runs a 4.38 40. He's a big target. And I tell you what makes this so good to get Chase in the first round is that Big Ben always liked a fast receiver to take the top end coverage off the defense, from Nate Washington to Mike Wallace, to Martavius Bryant, even bad hands Sammy Coates. This is a guy that he's a one-trick pony. He can be a one-trick pony as a rookie and get downfield. And sooner or later, Big Ben will get him. He'll sneak behind the secondary, and Big Ben will get him the ball. I love that pick.
No, that's great. I agree with you. I watched the pick. Then when I saw how well he did, and he's a Canadian, he ended up posting on Facebook out of high school all his highlights, and he did it for family and friends. How about how smart that was? Scouts saw him, and he got a 4-year scholarship at Notre Dame.
And one thing else you're going to love about him, according to all of his friends on draft day, they're all white guys. So you'll like that about him. You know what I mean? All these brothers here in Pittsburgh may scare him. He ain't used to that, brother.
Well, I know when he meets you, he might be scared. Till he sees how you're the nicest guy and the best smile in social media in Pittsburgh. Wait till they see that. But I got one question to interrupt this about Chad. You're talking about Big Ben. What's the story with Big Ben? How can he be better than 2018 when he had 5,200 yards and he had major surgery on his elbow? And he looks like he's a grizzly bear.
Well, he said his bear weighs 10 pounds. And, me, Al Levine, the talking machine, I don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, now that they got a quarterback coach, that's where they blew it. Last year, you had young quarterbacks with no quarterback coach. Even if Ben doesn't come back 100%, even if Ben gets hurt again this year, I think that the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Duck Hodges. I said that all along. I'm not surprised the Pittsburgh Steelers did not select a quarterback because they should know what they have in Duck. In the 2019, if you compare all the rookie quarterbacks in 2019, I have Duck Hodges as the #1 quarterback of the 2019 class, and he's still on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster.
Smoking Jim, I'm not confident at all in the Duck. His true colors came out. No offense in here, but his true colors came out when he started out very good. And then all of a sudden he couldn't throw the long ball. He couldn't complete the passes to our players. He started throwing the dreaded interception. And I didn't think he'd even be on the team for this year. But I may be wrong on that. I'll have to eat some humble pie on that one. I'm worried about the lack of skills that we have for these quarterbacks. And you're a natural born optimist when you fall in love with somebody. You don't drink with them, but you fall in love with them. You don't see any of their flaws. And I see plenty of those flaws on why no other team in the NFL wanted him.
Well, no team really wanted Kurt Warner either. He went on. Warren Moon was not wanted by any other team. And they're both in the Hall of Fame.
Kurt Warner didn't hit a bump at the beginning of his career like this.
Well,
and he overcame being a stock boy. So,
well, I tell you what, I'll take a guy with a 3-3 record. I give him a 4-3 record because I give him the victory over Cincinnati. And I tell you what, for a guy that basically had no coaching, didn't know any of the players, wasn't running a system that fit him, he did an excellent job. He passed for over 1,000 yards this year in limited play. I'm a big Duck fan.
Well, I'll let you go with that because here's what I always tell you. In due time, we will see.
But to get back to your question about Big Ben doesn't have to be a 5,000-yard passer this year, even though he got a lot of weapons this year, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have an outstanding defense. They have a steel curtain type defense, one of the best defenses they ever had since the 70s. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers are smart, if they get a lead, take a page from Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher, get a lead, run the football in the second half, play hard-nosed ball, the Pittsburgh Steelers can easily win 11 or 12 games this year.
Hold it. Who's going to run the ball? Who's running the ball?
Well, they're going to have a lot of brittle brothers back there.
That's my point.
When James Conner is healthy, he's an all-pro. I like Julian Samuels. I never like the pick of, slow as a snail, Benny Slow as a snail. But they got a steal this year, and I call him Booger because he's named after Anthony McFarland, who was nicknamed the Booger. But they got a guy from DeMatha High School, Anthony McFarland, that played with Chase Young of Ohio State in high school. One of the fastest guys the Steelers ever had on their roster since Willie Parker, and way back in the 70s, Laverne Smith is some of the Steelers fans remember the Kansas Common who broke his leg his rookie year, but would have had a great career here as a speedster.
I remember he was never the same after that.
Never the same.
Injuries are the equalizer, and so is time in the NFL. As you get older, it catches up to all of us, even me and you. Well, maybe not you, Smoking Jim.
Well, you stay in great shape, Al.
Thank you. I'm truly blessed. Almost 8 months with my new kidney transplant. Went to a good exam 2 weeks ago. The doctor said my blood and urine work are perfect. I never heard that from a doctor, so I'm truly blessed. But let's continue with the running back that they chose. What's your thoughts on him?
I love the kid. You know what I mean? He's under 200 pounds, so he's small. He's only 5'9". Didn't get a chance to catch a lot of passes at Maryland, which is a very poor football team. Who drafts 2 players out of a poor football program like Maryland that should practice a nepotism like Coach Tomlin? But this guy is super fast. He's young. He didn't play a senior year at DeMatha High School because he was injured. So he redshirted as a freshman, only played 2 years at Maryland, but his sophomore year was a breakout year. He had a great game against Ohio State, scored 4 touchdowns, had an 85-yard touchdown run, had a 70-yard touchdown run, almost 300 yards. Really shook up a great Ohio State defense. He's arrogant. He stuck up. You know what I mean? He got them dreadlocks in his hair, the whole bit.
Well, he did that to honor his dad. He did that to honor his dad, who died when he was a young man, I saw.
His dad like the dreads?
No, his dad died young.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But heck of a football player. A sprint champion in high school, 100-meter dash champion. And I tell you what, if he gets a crack, he's gone. So I like that, a guy that you can play in the situational. If you need a guy with some speed, you're tired of slow Benny Snell getting caught from behind by the back in nose guard. Now you got a guy that can outrun everybody on the field that's not named Deion Sanders.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I'm actually confident with him being a running back. I don't know if he'll be brittle or not. You'll have to tell me. But well, he seems like he has a brittle tendency from being injured in high school.
Yeah, he was injured in high school, which carried over to his freshman year in college, and then he was totally healthy as a redshirt freshman. But this year, as a redshirt sophomore, he missed a handful of games with injuries. So he fits right into the Steelers' backfield with being brittle.
Well, I appreciate that. And you've been proven right over the years. And the over almost 9 years we've been doing this, I always disagree with you on that, but I got to acquiesce. You can look that up in the dictionary.
Yeah.
That I got to acquiesce towards you. So,
hey, I learned a new word, touche.
I'm not going to ask you how to spell it, but I've known that for a long time. Touche, brother. No, you're something. I hope he doesn't get hurt right away, and I'm hopeful for James Conner to maybe stay healthy for about 6 or 7 games right off the bat, because then we might have 1,000 yards before he gets injured.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really looking forward to the season. Like I said before, I had, there's no doubt in my mind that the National Football League is going to play. These guys is now signed a contract. I knew they would have to draft. It's the highest rated draft of all time. And if the players have to play with no fans in the stands, they're willing to do that. And, if they have to drink Clorox, they're willing to do that.
I got to take exception and tell everybody watching, because just like our leader who said you should inject disinfectants, Smoking Jim was totally kidding. He doesn't even know what cleaning supplies are. So do not drink Clorox or anything else like that. And these are times of need. We like some humor. We like to have some fun. But this is serious. Smoking Jim and I are both people. We love people and being around them. And we're both hurting very badly because we can't see a lot of people. And Smoking Jim's all by himself with all his sweetie photos. They're in 2 bedrooms all over the walls. So he's doing well, but don't drink anything that could hurt you. Matter of fact, drink a cup of green tea, drink some healthy alkaline water or sparkling water, and contact Smoking Jim's daughter for getting some tea to drink. So that's all I could say.
It's awesome. It's awesome, brother.
No doubt. But wasn't it amazing with the draft? I didn't have any idea that it would be this successful, that they also even did a fundraiser and raised over $100 million. Goodell thanked everybody for the donations because they said the NFL would match whatever was donated. So that's amazing.
It doesn't surprise me. Football's number one for a reason. It's a if you like America, which we both do, it's an American sport. You can't find an All-American in any other country but here.
Right.
I tell you what, we invented football. We do it better than anybody. And these players will play whether there's fans in the stands or not, because the football, there's no guaranteed contract, and if you want to play, you got to pay for your suit. You got to play for your suit in football, and these guys will be happy to play with no fans in the stands because you got millions of people watching at home.
Well, Smoking Jim, you hit on a key point. One of the reasons they can play with no fans is they make billions of dollars from the networks.
Yes, sir.
The networks only care about the content. They don't care if there's people in the stands.
Exactly.
And then the contract they signed, I can't believe they even signed the contract. I negotiated 7 contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts at the Post-Gazette and Press. You'd never, ever accept the first offer by the company, and that's the NFL. Yet all these players accepted that contract because now they can smoke dope and they get more money to the younger players. I mean, that's how I read the contract.
And I was as shocked as you, Al Levine, the talking machine. I really thought this would be a strike year. I thought that a lot of people was very dissatisfied with the last contract that they signed with the National Football League, which resulted in a strike, a short strike. I really thought this was going to be a prolonged strike. I was shocked when it was signed and signed quickly.
Well, what I'll tell you is I thought a lot of NFL players were smart that would be on these committees, but what I've seen over the years is they're not really good negotiators. They mostly take care of the top tier players and get a few little rules put in for others. And they followed that suit with what I've seen over the last 20 years. So it's shocking that how incompetent they are as leaders. If I were a member, I'd vote them out.
No, that's right.
You got to change leadership, because I don't know where this is going to go, and we'll see the quality of football or lack of it down the road. But like you say, they got to play, and they're going to get paid. So that's a key thing, and you can't beat that. All right, what do you got for the third pick?
Well, Levine, the talking machine, the third-round pick, which is Pittsburgh Steelers' second pick, was horrible. Listen, you know, do you want to win or do you not want to win? You know, the two best players on your football team is, number one, T.J. Watt, which I've been saying from his rookie years, greatest linebacker in Pittsburgh Steelers history. He's proven me right day in and day out. And on the other side, you have a guy like Bud Dupree, who's 6'4", 270 pounds, finally got it last year, played at a Pro Bowl level last year. He's going to play at probably going to make the Pro Bowl if he stays healthy this year. So you got the best two bookends at outside linebacker. The Pittsburgh Steelers got many other needs, but this is the deepest year for wide receivers. I wouldn't even have minded another wide receiver at that pick. But you go to Charlotte, who recently got a football team. You take a kid that was a walk-on, that played only defensive end, grew into a defensive end position. Now he can play. Alex Highsmith can play, but this is you're taking a project with your third round pick. You don't have a first round pick. You did a great job with the second round, and then you totally blow it in the third round by getting a guy that can only play special teams for you. I think that Bud Dupree, the Pittsburgh Steelers, would be crazy not to sign him to a long-term contract, but at the very least, not only will they franchise him this year, he'll probably get a franchise again next year. So this is a guy that's not going to be able to help you in the near future.
Well, we got to see if Bud Dupree gains weight like Lamar Woodley.
One thing I know about Bud Dupree, he works out with some of our guys that we know in the boxing community here in Pittsburgh. And one thing about Bud, unlike Lamar Woodley, who was chubby, who was husky at Michigan, Bud Dupree's a hard worker. He trains like a prize fighter. And I tell you what, at 270 pounds, he can still reel off a 4.5 40, which is amazing. And now that you got T.J. Watt being double teamed, it makes it so much easier for everybody else. Got one play a game, Stephon Tuitt coming back this year, to take a little pressure off the outside linebackers.
Hopefully,
as well.
Tuitt won't be a brittle brother this year.
Yeah, well, I tell you what,
because he can play like Tarzan. He can play like Tarzan at times.
Yeah.
I don't call him Jane like you do.
But I agree with you, Al Levine, the talking machine. If there's Las Vegas odds on Stephon one play a game, Stephon Tuitt getting hurt, I'm putting some money on him getting hurt again.
Well, I know you're a gambler, but Las Vegas is shut down. Even though the mayor of Las Vegas said they should open up and let the casinos worry about social distancing, I don't know how they can open up when you're side by side with thousands of people. But Las Vegas is shut down right now, and they're getting crushed financially.
It broke my heart, too, because the NFL was supposed to have their draft there in 2020, and they estimated that 600,000 people would be in Las Vegas during the draft weekend. And I just feel bad for all the bookies that's losing money out there.
Well, don't be too mad, because come 2022, I heard the NFL will come back there.
Hey, they just happen to have an opening in their schedule. Who has an opening only 2 years down the road, but happen to be an opening. Next year it's in Cleveland. We should go.
Yeah. I'll let you drive up there. It's about a 2.5 hour trip. We'll make it in 4 hours. I just hope it's not a sunny day.
Well, hopefully next year I'll be back eating steak, man, during the draft.
I know. Well, we can only hope. We're praying for this corona to back off and get a vaccine for it and get people healthy, because we got over 50,000 people that have died, which who would have thought when a month or so ago we had 0?
Wow. I know the head coach for New Orleans Saints, he had gotten a coronavirus and was in a hospital for a long time, and he's been over 21 days, and he's been donating plasma. It's a 45-minute procedure. You can only do it once a month, but I guess that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know anything about corona, but once you get it, once you overcome it, you can't get it again. So I guess the plasma can help save.
I got to interrupt you on that. They've done studies. They don't know if it's like the flu and other viruses that you get immunity. They don't know how long the immunity will last. And then they're trying to get antibodies from his plasma to inject in other people if it does provide immunity. So then that would, in theory, keep guys like me and you from getting sick from corona.
Well, I heard the umbilical cords are important.
Well, those are important for other things. You got to do more research on that. We're talking about somebody that had corona. Maybe they'll take an arm off of them and use that to beat the corona. I'm just kidding, folks. Don't take me serious. I am sarcastic. I just explain this to people that are used to the media and people lying about being sarcastic. I am sarcastic. I majored in sarcasm, and I minored, for all you sports fans, in ball busting, because anybody that's played sports naturally does that. So we like to have fun here, and we're trying to add some humor during our time of being locked down and quarantined. So just try to stay healthy. Don't drink the Clorox like Smoking Jim said, please. All right, let's carry on. The running back was next, right?
Yeah, the running back was their fourth-round draft pick. One of their two fourth-round draft picks.
All right, who's the other?
Pittsburgh Steelers went back to Louisiana Lafayette. Got a big kid, Kevin Dotson, that's going to be very good. He's 6'4", 330 pounds. He can run. He can move. He's going to play guard. He played right guard for his college team. There's somewhat of an opening for the left guard. You got to figure David DeCastro will be a right guard for a while. But this is a kid that didn't get invited to the combine, which is surprising to me. He's a 4-year starter. He's a big kid. He moves well. He kind of reminds me of Kevin Beachum that we had on the team a few years back, but he makes better decisions. Beachum should have stayed here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he opted to go elsewhere and never really made the kind of money he would have made here and been a long-time starter. So if Kevin Dotson can make better decisions than Kevin Beachum, I think that he'll have a long career here in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like that pick in the fourth round.
The question I have for you, being a scout and an expert on people and their tendencies, is a lot of times when somebody plays right tackle, right guard, they have trouble transitioning to left guard, left tackle, because it's different footwork and their arms they got to use in different ways. I played the game, so I understand that. Being center, I took you from left or right because they came at me straight on, left, right, and whatever. So I had to be flexible. But when you're on that right side, I'm just worried about a transition to left, because we've seen guys that have trouble with their footwork. And guess what? That can be a disaster when you have to go back to pass.
And when you don't have an offensive line coach like a Russ Grimm or Mike Munchak, when you got Mike Munchak's coffee boy as their offensive line coach, he's not going to be able to coach a guy up to be able to flip-flop sides. A lot of that is coaching repetition. Look at Aaron Jones. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted him as a defensive end, and he could only play one side. And then when they flopped him on the other side, he had to put his improper foot back because that's the only foot he could put back, which made it easy for him to get hooked. And,
no, that's why I'm talking about it, because we've seen that.
Yeah, we sure have. But the key is always coaching, and the Pittsburgh Steelers really have zero in terms of an offensive line coach.
Well, then how hopeful are you that he can adjust?
Well, if not, he'll just have to play where he's always played at our right offensive guard and back up David DeCastro.
So he won't be a starter?
No. Again, they're picking a guy in a very high draft pick for somebody that'll be a backup that can't even be a special team. There's a rule that they just passed in the National Football League this year where you can dress an extra offensive lineman. So I guess that they have another guy to throw the capes on his offensive line mates when they come to the sideline. It'll be very, very helpful. Cape man.
I'll be very helpful with Batman saying there'll be a cape man. So thank you, Batman. All right. What are we doing on the next pick? What's up with that?
Well, the next pick is another bust. The Pittsburgh Steelers, again, Coach Tomlin, who wanted to thank Maryland for giving his son a big-time scholarship, even though his son never made any all-star teams in football. They went back to Maryland to get a 5'11", 220-pound safety that's slow, that can't jump, physical, but he can't cover. He'll be a liability in the passing game. Now he's played a little bit of box safety at Maryland because they got run over by Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Anybody with a pulse in the Big Ten destroyed Maryland. So he played close to the line of scrimmage. So they feel like he can play a little linebacker to help. But he's going to be a liability in the passing game. The weak link in their secondary is the only draft pick that the Pittsburgh Steelers selected, which is Terrell Edmonds. And so now you got another guy that's going to back up Terrell Edmonds. So you got two NFL busts playing strong safety for you, one starter, one backup. And his name is Antoine Brooks Jr. So,
well, we don't have anything to look forward to on that one, right?
No, you don't. And the Pittsburgh Steelers went out of their way this year to sign a lot of XFL players, so you know they can't play. So this is really going to be, hey, don't get nobody's number. Don't keep a number long.
Wow.
If you buy these jerseys, don't keep it long. Unless it's Chase Claypool, don't keep it long, brother.
Wow, that's not good. So what else do you have to say about the draft? Just another
They drafted a twin. Out in Nebraska. Him and his brother played Carlos Davis. These are him and his brother are both 8-time letter winners at Nebraska.
8 times, wow!
8-time letter winners. And neither of them were good football players. That's why they were both available in the 7th round. These are guys who were adopted as twins, and their parents, actually, their adopted parents, had to buy an extra refrigerator. And then they had to buy a second extra refrigerator because of how much they eat. And the parents ended up buying another refrigerator to put in their bedroom, in their parents' bedroom, so they wouldn't eat up all their food.
You got to be kidding. You can appreciate that they're eaters, though, right? You appreciate that.
Man, I love it. 330 pounds. These guys threw the shot, and they really were better track guys than they were football players at Nebraska. Threw the shot and discus. But I mean, this Carlos Davis is a guy that's going to stand straight up. You know, I've never seen a nose guard play like a defensive end. He's never played really nose guard before. The Pittsburgh Steelers, listen, to play nose guard, you need a Casey Hampton type body. The Pittsburgh Steelers never had that since Casey Hampton. Get you a guy that's 350 pounds, 6'1", 6'2", that's going to occupy two guys inside. Here's Carlos Davis. They put him on the field. He's going to get blown out. So it's going to take him a year to learn how to play nose guard. It's going to take him another year to get some experience. So look for third, fourth year right before his contract's up for him to start learning how to play the game.
Wow. Who's that defensive line coach? I don't even know his name.
Well, there's no need to know his name. He keeps drafting guys that he coached at Alabama, like Isaiah Buggs and these guys that are horrible. You know, Alabama got a lot of great players, but all the ones they're bringing in for the Pittsburgh Steelers have been bad. Poor defensive line coach. Also, they still have the assistant head coach who was a longtime defensive line coach, you know, John Mitchell. I tell you what, that he's been stealing money for 15 years from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm still shocked he's on staff. What is he doing? You know what I mean? He ain't coach. He's the assistant head coach, which is ridiculous. Mike Munchak should have had that position. They should have got rid of John Mitchell a long time ago.
Wow, thanks for your insight, Smoking Jim. I didn't realize it was that bad. Well, what's your overall opinion of Colbert and what he did during the draft then, too?
Well, congratulations to my good friend Kevin Colbert, who got promoted to vice president of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess they figured that, you know, because if he drafted guys like Artie Burns, because he's bringing in the 2016 draft class that should be the bread and butter of the team right now. There's not a single player on that team from that draft class. He can't draft as a defensive back to save his life throughout his career. All the defensive backs they got were stars at other programs that they brought in, traded for, and acquired. But they figured that he was worthy to be vice president of the organization. The Pittsburgh Steelers had to draft a linebacker in the third round because, again, Kevin Colbert is like the Rooneys, practicing nepotism like Coach Tomlin. His son, Dan, has been drafting guys from Akron, linebackers from Akron and Toledo. I guess they ain't panned out, so they went all the way to Charlotte to find a program, to dig up a program, the CCAC of Charlotte, to get a guy in here. But the one thing I can say, I did watch Alex Highsmith on tape, outstanding. I did watch Charlotte 2 years ago. You know, I watched 2 game tapes every day, 365 days a year. And when I was scouting Lamar Jackson from Louisville, they actually had their first game of the season was against Charlotte, and I think they scored about 100 points against Charlotte. So
not too shabby.
Maybe Alex Highsmith can get him back. He couldn't get him that day, but maybe he can get him now with the Steelers.
I got to agree with you, since Shazier got injured horrifically, and he won't ever be back to play. So even though you're a dreamer and a schemer and think he's healthy enough to play, he can't take the risk. He just has to put that in his mind. It's nice that the Steelers are paying him, let him hang around and do whatever he can. But there's no way he should ever play again because he's a brittle brother. If he got hit, he could be paralyzed. Who wants to take that risk? This
is America. If you want to play, you should be given a chance.
Guess what? That's why they have medical doctors that are experts who would even tell you that is not true. Don't believe this, folks. Another disclaimer.
Hey,
if
I've been watching.
Tells you not to play, don't play. It could cost you paralyzation.
Hey, I'm watching. You know, I've been binge watching Gunsmoke, a show I've never seen before, and they had a guy that was thrown off of a horse, and they said, when you get thrown off the horse, get right back on as soon as you can. Shazier got thrown off the horse. He should, like in Gunsmoke, he should be allowed to get back on that horse.
Here's the problem. I have a question for you. How fast of a guy was Shazier before the injury?
4.3.
Do you think, in your most optimistic mind, that he could do 4.3 now when he can hardly walk with his girlfriend holding his arm across the floor?
I think he can do a 4.950.
I think you're optimistic. And how would that help the Steelers?
It may not help the Steelers, but it would help him. He wants to play. It's in his blood.
He overcame a life-threatening injury through hard work, just like you overcome a lot of things that you've gone through the last years that we're not sure what you went through. You're still alive and well, and you're wearing a T-shirt. Can you show the T-shirt so you can tell them who you're sponsoring there?
Yeah.
Take it down a little bit more.
Alicia Dobbs. She, with the brain injury and the concussion, she's been all around the country, especially in Washington, D.C., and talking about CTE and doing some things to help out.
Because she had a brain injury. She had a pinball machine fall on her head when she was like 12 years old or something.
Yep, and I'm surprised I'm out there in Ambridge. There's not more things falling on people's head out there.
Oh, really?
And yeah, but I tell you what, she's a warrior, and she sends me a T-shirt each and every year. I put up a post of us last year that she put up about brain awareness, and people thought I was having maybe some problems there. I may have to put a subtitle there. It ain't for me.
let me just tell all your friends and fans, he suffers from CTE. And he may have the nicest laugh and smile, but he does suffer from CTE. What I told him 2 minutes ago, he forgot. So we're trying to work through that. And somehow I gave him the link, and he clicked on the link, and after a couple tries, look at smoking Jim Frazier. You can't beat him.
It was amazing. I'm glad you told me to click the video. I'm like, can you see me? You're like, no.
Well, it's a couple-step process, audio, then video. So you've been on TV for a long time, so you know and you did well. We're getting close to wrap it up. Any other thoughts on sports in general at this time that you have?
Well, I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, the head coach of Arizona, Kingsbury, he had one of the most laid out bachelor pads out there in Arizona. They're all talking about it, man. He's living large. You know, Bill Belichick didn't take this draft process seriously. You know, he showed
How about
Bill
his
Belichick.
dog?
Yeah, his dog
Belichick had his husky there. It was a cute-looking husky.
His dog sitting at the chair. And I tell you what, man, I was sick and tired of seeing all these snot-nosed brats, all these guys. You know, the NFL executive and coaches don't spend any time with their family. They're never around. I mean, most of their kids, they know who they were. They're trying to high-five their kids. They're looking at them like, who are you? You know what I mean? Hey, this is supposed to be serious business. Get the kids out of the room. I guess it made it good for TV. But I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine, the guy that's doing some great things, is the best coach in the National Football League. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I think another Super Bowl would do it for him because he already got a couple under his belt, and he's a two-time NFL head coach of the year. Nobody's been three-time, and that's the genius, Bruce Arians. You know, not only did he bring in Brady, he also brought in Gronkowski, is coming out of retirement to play in Tampa Bay.
What do you think of that? Gronkowski is one of the best tight ends I ever saw.
Yeah,
and they quit the game so early because of injuries and just being beat up. Do you think the 2 years off healed him?
Well, you know, I do. I think that this is a guy that can still play him, and you know, he don't have to learn. He ain't the smartest. He ain't the smartest guy. No, he ain't the smartest tool in the toolbox. But he'll be able to run the same plays that made him and Brady successful. a lot of pressures off of them because Tampa Bay already got all-pro wide receivers. Bruce Arians did a great job. They traded and brought in some and drafted an offensive lineman that's going to help out Brady's backside. And I tell you what, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, is done enough to go ahead and win the Super Bowl next year.
You're kidding me. Wow, no. You're jumping on the Brady bandwagon with the Bucks.
And don't be surprised if downtown Antonio Brown is with the Baltimore Ravens. I think his only hope to get back into the National Football League is he's already good friends with Lamar Jackson and a team back up with his cousin, Hollywood Brown. I think that the Baltimore Ravens has an outstanding chance there. And we always talk about, guys, if you're not playing, if you love the game, if you think you guys have a chance to play professional football, not many quarterbacks got drafted this year. Al Levine, the talking machine.
Right.
Congratulations on Pine Ridgeland's Ben DiNucci. He got drafted, I believe, in the 6th or 7th round. Couldn't have been more proud. He went to James Madison, put up huge numbers out there. And if he stayed at Pitt, he'd have set the bench and never would have got an NFL shot. He's getting the opportunity now, and I'm very happy and proud of that Western Pennsylvania guy.
No, that's pretty good. But getting back to Antonio Brown, the NFL is still investigating him, a.k.a. blacklisting him, to keep him out of the sport.
Yeah, which is a shame. You know, Antonio Brown made a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? He came out with a rap CD, No More White Women. Because of his last relationship, he's been having so much problems with her, and now they're expecting his 6th baby. She's pregnant. He found out she's pregnant. It's his kid. So I guess he got to edit that CD.
Wow.
one more white woman. But the guy is just crazy. He's out of his mind. But I think that now he realizes that football's going to go on without him. It went on without Dez Bryant. It went on without T.O. It went on without Ocho Cinco.
Yep.
And Antonio Brown. If he has an opportunity to get back in the National Football League, I think John Harbaugh would be the coach to give it to him. And then you got Ray Lewis that's still a mentor to the Ravens. He'll come in and make sure he straightens himself out in the locker room. Ray Lewis don't play that.
Wow. You're unbelievable with that Ray Lewis still after how many years?
Still a leader.
Yeah, but you were wrong about the Ravens not ever coming back from his leaving the team.
Well, it took him 6 years, didn't it? And John Harbaugh underestimated really how great a football coach he is. And, hey, I'm only right 97% of the time. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about John Harbaugh. Of course, I was right about Jim Harbaugh. What a great coach he is.
Well, just mark this down, fans of Smokin' Jim. This is one of those rare occasions where he admitted he was wrong. It's almost never happened. I don't even want to go back to the Cleveland Browns last year. You were crazy about that. You were actually mad that we disagreed with you.
Yeah, I was very shocked that all that talent couldn't be pulled together in a winning program. Weren't you?
No, because when I even heard who they were hiring as a coach, I'm like, you have to be kidding. And I was right that they shouldn't have hired Kitchen as a coach.
And they hired him over Bruce Arians. I know they're kicking themselves now. Bruce would have turned them around.
I know. He struggled with Winston, though, Jameson Winston.
But hey,
he throws 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So what can you do with that?
Hey, what does my good friend Tom Donahoe, the former GM of the Steelers, used to say? Get them good or get them gone. And Bruce Arians got Winston out of there, man, and brought in Brady. So that'll be a difference. If Winston can do all that, just think what Brady can do with that same amount of talent. And Brady, again, making mistakes. Brady's just made another mistake.
What did he do?
Byron Leftwich, who married one of the Schafinos, Angel Schaffino's sister.
Yeah.
Byron Leftwich didn't make good decisions on the field, but off the field, he doing some good decisions. She's beautiful, but he's the offensive coordinator. He said he'll leave his door open for Brady to come in and pick up some material. Brady's never been to his house. Brady goes into the wrong person's house. Here's the problem. Not that he went into the wrong person's house. The NFL there was a no contact policy with coaches and administrators until sometime after the draft. So he was doing something. They're probably going to slap their hands for next year because he had no business going there. Brady got thrown out of a park recently because there's in the parks you cannot nobody can be participating in any parks. Brady's working out in the park. Police officer had to ask him to leave, and he did leave. He didn't know that no park participation meant him. So he did leave. So he's been making some mistakes down there. But hey,
well, he's getting old, buddy. He'll be 43 this year, and he's got hit a few times. Even though it's rare, he might be suffering a little CTE like you.
2 more years at least. Yeah, him and Gronk. Yeah, I just wish they could have brought in Antonio Brown. Brady and Antonio Brown are dear friends.
Well, Antonio Brown has a lot of talent, but he has that 2-cent brain and mental illness. No offense against the mental illness, but he needs medication. And that's part of the problem, because those are a lot of issues you and I would not have that he's having.
Do you think he got a little Allen Iverson in him? That's
no. He just has trouble. He's not thinking right or seeing right, and there's an issue there. It's not good. Well, we're going to have to be winding down this show here. I don't know if we got a few minutes or not, but we're going to have to wind it down. We had some fun. I hope all of you watching this enjoyed the show, and we're going to try to do another one next week or as long as we can during the quarantine. So stay tuned to Pittsburgh Sportsline. And again, thanks all of you for watching us. I forgot to tell you, we appreciate all the likes you have on Facebook. We hit Smokin' Jim 6,882 likes. So thanks for watching all our shows and even watching them again. We appreciate that. So have a great time. Try to be safe, stay healthy, and follow the doctor's orders, not Smokin' Jim or whomever. So we'll take care, and we'll be healthy, and we'll stay wise. So look forward to our next show.